to call this meeting to order. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see all of you. We have one report from closed session, and that is a settlement agreement approval. In the closed session, by a vote of 5-0 with 0 abstentions and absences, the board took action to approve a settlement agreement in special ed case number 24-25-01. The board voted as follows: ayes 5, noes 0, absent 0, and abstained 0. So, this meeting is being recorded for live streaming and archiving on the district YouTube channel. Sorry. At youtube.com/C/Benicia Unified School District for your convenience. And Ms. Beatson, Dr. Beatson, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Item number 9, student reports. We have Victoria Blackman from Liberty High School.
Good evening, Good evening, President Grubbs, Superintendent Dr. Wright, and fellow trustees and cabinet members. This month's attendance challenge is called "We Love That You Are Here." Besides the drawings for all students that achieve an attendance rate of 94% or higher, they will receive a box of Valentine's chocolates. Last month, 24% of our students had perfect attendance. Another 32 had near perfect attendance. Hopefully, we will continue to celebrate success. We have several Learning Through Interest field trips planned for next week. We have a CTE tour at Solano Community College and a visit to California Job Corps in Sacramento. Today, several students went mountain biking in and around Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. Students are learning how to fix and repair bikes. We are taking what we are learning and creating our own bike repair shop on campus. Students have been providing their input on redesigning our student lounge. It is indeed a new look. We hope to have most of it completed by our WASC visit in March. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. And Isa.
Hello, President Grubbs and fellow council members. Before break, leadership planned and hosted BHS's first annual Clash of the Classes. It consisted of a Spirit Week where points were awarded to everyone who dressed up for the Spirit Days. Each class nominated a champion to represent them at the lunch activities every day that week, which included a math, art, basketball, and trivia competition, all leading up to the rally at the end of the week. Points were awarded to the classes of the winners, along with some more competitions at the rally itself. In the end, the juniors secured the win at the rally. In the same week, leadership sold and handed out Valentine's roses. Unified Basketball held multiple games, garnering a lot of spirit from the student section. The Seroptimist Club hosted a teen dating violence awareness event, and Black Student Union hosted a movie event to start off Black History Month. Finally, wrestling and basketball senior nights led up to Ski Week. This week in leadership, the prom committee is working on finalizing the announcement of the dance's theme, date, time, and location. Invitations are being created and will be sent out soon to all juniors and seniors. The Panther Passport Week committee is working on our next Panther Passport Week, the week in April where we celebrate different cultures and heritage each day. During that week, the kitchen will be making different meals from the individual cultures to hand out to the student body, and traditional cultural performances such as dances or games will be out in the quad at lunch. Student body elections for student leadership are coming up next week. An informational meeting will be held next Tuesday, providing information on the election process, available positions, and the benefits of joining leadership. The meeting is required for those who want to run for positions. In addition, Dance 2 and Advanced Dance are having auditions on Monday. Audition information is on the BHS website and on the Dance Department Instagram account. AP exam registration is closing on March 7th. Finally, 3 members of the BHS debate team are heading to nationals and state competitions. Thank you.
And then we come, ladies, if you would like to go on with your evening, you're welcome to, or you can stay if you like. Bye. Yeah. And Dr. Wright, you're up.
All right, good evening. Tonight I want to celebrate Liberty High School. They are officially California Model Continuation High School for California. And that's an incredible achievement. And they will be celebrated on April 26th down in San Diego. I believe the celebration is going to take place on the USS Midway. And we're just so proud of the work that they've done. Kim Lewis, thank you for all your hard work. Liberty staff and students, you continue to make us proud. And just thank you for your hard work, and we're very proud of your accomplishments. Today is World Day of Social Justice. It's an international day that recognizes the importance of promoting social justice. That includes addressing issues such as poverty, exclusion, gender inequality, unemployment, human rights, and social protection. And Dr. Beatson is jumping up and down today, excited because we officially finished the federal program monitoring system. We passed with flying colors. We've got notified today, and we're very happy about that. That's all I have today.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And board reports?
I have a board report. So about a week ago, I attended my first community advisory panel meeting, the CAP meeting at Valero. And the CAP is a forum for updates to educate the public and stakeholders. I'm there as part of my duties for the district, and it was very informative. We basically set up future topics for future meetings. But one thing I did want to bring to everybody's attention is that there is a wealth of information online at benishacap.com, www.benishacap.com, and they have information about the refinery, information about any incidents that happen. One of my questions is, how would the public find information when an incident happens? I usually hear about it through the school or maybe through, alerts through the county. But this website will have all that information, and you can link to other monitoring sites through that site. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that. But it was a great meeting.
Wonderful. Are there any other board reports? Okay, so now we come to item number 10, comments from members of the public. All functions of the board meeting, including public comments, will take place in person. Members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Speaker cards are available at the entrance table. Please note that any item you wish to speak to and submit a card to the board secretary. The board president will call all to the open session general comment section, Government Code section 54954.3. During public comment items, comments for items on the agenda will be called during the specific item. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, or the board may limit the total time to 20 minutes per item, with the timer displayed on the monitors. By law, no action can be taken on any item raised during the public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on future agenda of the governing board. Please be reminded to keep your comments respectful, as students may be watching the board meeting. Thank you. So our first speaker tonight is Ellie Petrovsky.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I go to Joe Henderson Elementary School, and I'm in 4th grade. I have heard that this board is cutting STEAM programs for budget reasons. I am asking you not to cut STEAM programs. STEAM teaches kids about how our bodies work, how computers work, and how car engines work. Lots of other interesting and important things. School would not be fun if all we did was read and do math. STEAM helps school be more exciting for all students. STEAM teaches us that we can grow up to be engineers, scientists, and mechanics. This is why I think we should keep funding for STEAM programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Our next speaker is Kristen Grubbs.
Good evening. Sorry, I have a loud voice. I apologize. I'm here tonight. Thank you, board members, Dr. Wright, Dr. Beatson. I'm here tonight speaking as a physical education teacher. I know I'm in my coaching garb, but came just from practice. A year ago, on February 16th, us as Benicia Unified School members got an email from Dr. Wright. The title of the email was called "We Move Forward with Confidence." A lot of us were wondering how we were going to move forward with so many people taking this retirement incentive. 43, that's what is listed in this email. We didn't have any say, we kind of questioned it. We were sent this email and reassurance that this was going to keep us fiscally solvent and avoid cutting general budget items for the next 5 years. 1 year later, we are here today cutting general budget item programs. We are cutting teachers. We are cutting people who are directly in contact with students. A very, very minute suggested cut to help us become fiscally solvent now is coming from this building. It is all coming from outside of this building. It makes us feel that we are not a team. It makes us feel that we are not together. It makes us feel expendable. It makes us feel less valuable. And like that young lady said, school needs to be someplace that they look forward to. And it's us as teachers, as librarians, as psychologists, as mental health clinicians that they are seeing on a daily basis. I implore the board to please look at what could be done to make our budget more equally cut from the top down. Let's take examples from these other districts who are leading by that example and cutting from the district office proportionally as they're cutting from the teachers and the support staff. Because like I said, not even a year ago, we were given reassurance for the next 5 years, we will be good. And here we are today. So please, I know there's a lot of tough choices that you guys have to make, but please do not let it come from first line people that have contact with some of your children on a daily basis. Thank you.
So we come to item 11, approval of the consent calendar. Background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on roll call vote unless discussion of items is requested by the board members.
I would,
Go ahead.
oh, we're jumping
go
off
ahead.
each other. I'd like to move that let's vote on the consent calendar. It's good. I mean, yes. I'm like,
Are you making a motion?
Want to approve the
I'm
consent calendar as
making a
written?
motion. I'm nervous tonight. Sorry. I'm making a motion to approve the consent calendar as written.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Ms. Martinez?
I have to do a roll call for this one, sorry. President Grubbs,
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch,
Yes.
Trustee Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Maselli,
Yes.
and Trustee Manasi.
Yes.
All right, and there's also a resolution on this consent calendar that will have a separate roll call, if that's okay.
So it's approval of resolution number 24-25-24, declaration of Liberty High School obsolete property. Can I have a motion?
We don't need the motion.
we don't
We're
need-
gonna Go under the same motion. And so President Grubbs,
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch,
Yes.
Trustee Seda,
Yes.
Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Manasi.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we come to our presentations for tonight. Dr. Wright, you are up.
All right, good evening. So I come here tonight with a follow-up presentation from the February 6th Governing Board meeting, where we brought forward a recommendation for consideration, the initial recommendation anyway, so that the discussions that we were having about right-sizing our district, we wanted to make sure that they were happening publicly and we were transparent in our communications. Oh, okay. We're going to go back to public comment.
It's not public.
What?
It's, they're comments for item number 12.
They're going to go
Oh, okay.
after, right before the action item.
Okay,
they'll go
oh,
after
thank
my
you.
presentation. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
So just to clarify what we're discussing, so there's some comments to this item. So I'm going to do a presentation, then we'll do the comments, and then we'll go to action item 13. Okay.
Before Dr. Wright's presentation, we can take the public comment. This has to do with general, not his presentation. That's okay. Okay. So, Corey, would you like to come up and speak?
Hi, good evening. Correct, I apologize, yes. I was a little late coming in, so they weren't sure where to put it, but general comment. I appreciate y'all for hearing me out today. I'm here today to talk about social media access and the lack of monitoring on BUSD laptops that you touched upon the last meeting and hopefully in future meetings regarding the line-wise. So I have 5th and 6th grade daughters in the Benicia Unified School District. I've been in Benicia for 11 years with my family. And my husband and I, we've always prioritized limiting our children's exposure to the internet, social media. It's always been one of our main priorities. In our home, our children don't have tablets. We have YouTube on our main TV, password protected for us to turn on for them. And they have phones, but they have pinwheel software, which doesn't allow them any internet or social media activity. So my daughter is a 6th grader, so first time at BMS, and at the beginning of the school year, I noticed she was always on her laptop. Oh, what a great student. I was so proud of her. Till I realized I'd walk into her room and she would slam the laptop shut. That's weird. So I asked her, what are you doing on that laptop? Mom, sorry, I have to be honest with you. I'm watching TikTok shorts on YouTube on my laptop. What? I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it because, of course, I work at a hospital and I can't even go onto Google without them telling me, no, sorry, you don't have access. So I would have never thought she would have access to YouTube without any, blockage at home. I didn't even know she had access to YouTube. And I went to all of the BMS Welcome to the Middle School. I read all of the middle school guidelines, and nowhere did it say anywhere about, hey, this is what your child has access to. She, of course, is required to bring this laptop home. So now we've had to create all of these rules about you can't have your laptop in your room, so that way we're able to police this laptop. So I know line-wise, it looks great to me. I hope you guys enjoyed that presentation last week, but there are going to be some budgetary issues. So I wanted to bring up some other thoughts I had about how we can help this issue. First and foremost, in the elementary school, they were able to leave their laptops at school, so this wasn't an issue. the BMS has a revolving schedule. So their sixth period is their first period. So I don't understand why there's not the option of, hey, I don't need my laptop tonight for homework. I'm going to leave it in my sixth period. It will be there for me to collect my first period the following day. That would help with some of these issues. But if you had homework on your laptop, you could still bring it home. At the very least, I would really hope that we can give more information to parents. I talk to parents all the time about this issue because we have a lot of sixth grade friends, and none of them had any idea that there were games and YouTube available on this laptop. And of course, my understanding is when they bring the laptop home, because it's off of that server from the school, now there are a lot less restrictions. There's no Go Guardian when they have it at home. I did try to contact the IT department and I never received a call back, so I'm not sure if that's accurate. But I appreciate you guys letting me speak tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so sorry for putting mine in the wrong section. I spoke in December about the importance of having something like Go Guardian on all of our school laptops. I'm so appreciative of the time you all took to listen to LineWise presentation. Thank you to Mr. Lambert and the IT department for having that. I know budget cuts are coming. I hope you continue to prioritize this as a necessity for our students. I continue to talk with teachers and families at elementary, BMS, and BHS. Everyone is wanting this. Maybe a survey could go out to staff, maybe even to families to let them know what it would be like with and without this kind of service. And teachers have been really disappointed that Go Guardian went away this school year. If budget cuts are an issue, please look out to the following districts to see how they're managing. The majority of places in California and in the Bay Area have something in place. So this is just, I have all of these hyperlinked to the location where I found this information, so if anyone needs contact information, I'm happy to share. Antioch Unified, Go Guardian. Oak Grove, Go Guardian. Lammersville, Go Guardian. Los Angeles Unified, Go Guardian. Marin County, Go Guardian. Martinez uses Custodio. Mount Diablo, quote, maintains an internet filtering software package. Napa Unified, quote, implemented software that monitors your student online activity at district accounts and on district-owned devices. Natomas, Go Guardian. Newport Mesa, Go Guardian. Petaluma, LineWise. Pittsburgh, Go Guardian. Saratoga, Securely Classroom. Rockland, Go Guardian. Reading, Go Guardian. Spreckles, Go Guardian. San Francisco, Go Guardian. Walnut Creek, LineWise. Vallejo, Go Guardian. Vacaville, Go Guardian. Fairfield, nothing was mentioned. I called and did not receive a call back. They say they do digital citizenship and common sense media as a way to notify families. Benicia, nothing. Like, please, please help us. Like, I can't believe that kids are just sitting in class watching YouTube and Netflix and gaming, and we don't do this for our family anymore because of the problem, but I just have to know I did everything I could to make sure that students have protection from social media, TikTok shorts on YouTube, and continue to follow Surgeon General warnings of how we support our children's mental health. This issue is so important to me, and I really hope it is to all of you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, Dr. Wright.
Okay, so thank you. Good evening. Tonight I want to just share a revised proposal. We had a discussion at the February 6th Governing Board meeting in which we shared a proposal for consideration. It was our initial proposal so that we can have the conversation publicly and have some dialogue amongst our governing board regarding the deficit spending that's occurring and how do we get a handle on it. So tonight I'm going to share our proposal to reduce $715,000 from one-time funding and also approximately $2 million to $2.5 million from the general fund to address the deficit spending that's occurring within our district. And then we'll also quickly go over the next steps in our timeline. So this slide here should look familiar. This is something that we've brought forward over the past couple of years. These are the programs that are funded by the one-time grants. So at COVID, since 2020, our district received about $14 million in one-time grants. We like to refer to it as the COVID money or the COVID funds. We're able to fund these programs. Typically, when you get one-time grants, you fund one-time purchases, not ongoing programs. However, many districts in California, we had the opportunity because we had enough funding coming in to implement outstanding programs to support students after the pandemic. And many of those programs involve people. So if you look at the one-time grant programs, you'll see Wellness Center, extra support on campuses. We're able to fund those. We have enough to get us through this year, but we don't have quite enough to offer all of our programs next school year. We're required to reduce about $700,000. This proposal that was shared on February 6th is the same proposal that we bring forward today. We have a 20% math coach that's funded through one-time dollars at Benicia Middle School. Did an outstanding job implementing the new CPM curriculum at Benicia Middle School over a 2-year period of time. We feel that our teachers have a handle on the CPM curriculum and are ready to continue to move forward. We have a teacher on special assignment that we brought in this year. This teacher on special assignment implemented the elementary ELA curriculum with our teachers on Fridays, professional development, and also created some digital lesson planning to help them implement lesson plans to their students. We have a 2.0 no combo teachers at the elementary schools. This is something that we put in during the pandemic to support our students and our teachers with some learning loss. And we also have the new teacher coach. Quite a few new teachers this year. We're able to bring forward a teacher on special assignment to support our new teachers with integrating into the profession and also just with giving them model lessons so that they can hit the ground running and do a great job with their students. All outstanding programs, but at this time we haven't found a new funding source to continue those programs. So under this proposal, if we do not find a funding source, we'll be unable to offer these programs after this year. You'll see 3 additional programs listed, the library contract. Now, the library contract, school districts are required to have a credentialed librarian. We do not have somebody with that credential, so we contract with the Benicia City Library for this service. It's a $25,000 contract. This is something that's ongoing, so we have to figure out a funding source through the general fund to continue to offer this service because this is the law. We also offer some support through our band and also Liberty High School for art. We're able to move that over to Prop 28 to continue those 2 programs. By making these shifts, this proposal will give us an estimated savings of about $715,000, and what that will do is that will enable us to offer the other programs that are listed on this slide for 1 more school year. However, I do want to caution you that at the end of next school year, if we do not identify a funding source for these programs, we'll not be able to offer these programs after next school year. We also, we talked about, at our last meeting, we talked about, and first interim, we talked about deficit spending. We're currently deficit spending projected about $3 million this year. Next school year, we're projected to deficit spend about $2 million. So in looking through our programs, we wanted to identify areas in which we could reduce our expenditures. First thing we wanted to do is try to figure out how can we offer a great service to our students and not impact people. So we took a look at our listings, positions that we have listed that were currently unfilled, and we're able to identify some that we have budgeted. The college and career tech at the high school, and there's 3, you will see special education aides listed there. Some of those positions have been unfilled since 2022, and one of those positions has been unfilled since 2023. So if we look at those unfilled positions, that's a cost savings of estimated cost savings of about $190,000. We did the same and looking at our certificated listings. We identified 3.2 FTE between Benicia Middle School, Benicia High School, and that would give us an estimated savings of about $480,000. When 92% of your unrestricted budget is allocated towards staff, and you have to reduce $2 million, unfortunately, it's going to impact people on some level, and we're doing our best to minimize that. We have a WASC coordinator. WASC is accreditation that visits our schools every few years to make sure they're doing what they're set out to do. We have a visit this year. We're actually in 2 weeks. We're anticipating an outstanding visit, and that visit requires, prior to that visit, we usually give a release period to a staff member to do the focus groups and write the lengthy report that's required for that visit. Those reports are over 100 pages. So we would not be required to offer that particular position next year, so we can reduce that FTE by 0.2. Independent studies at Liberty High School, we currently have someone in a 60% position. Low enrollment in our independent study program, we feel that we could absorb some of that work amongst our staff. And then through just attrition, decline in enrollment, we feel that at Benicia High School, Benicia Middle School, and the elementary school, reduced FTE based upon the declining enrollment that we're projecting. Also, we have an elementary prep STEAM teacher and an elementary prep PE teacher. Prior to this year, those are relatively new positions that we put in place this year to provide our elementary teachers additional prep time. We can consider reverting back to our previous practice. Adaptive physical education, is based on caseload. That's an IEP-driven position, and based upon our numbers, we feel that we can reduce the adaptive PE position by 20%. Sections for athletic director and stipends at Benicia High School, we are considering taking a vice principal position and combining it with an athletic director position to provide the service of that athletic director and give some more support in the evening time. And in doing so, that would reduce the release period for the athletic director at 40% plus the stipend, giving us some cost savings there. We also have a a TOSA, which is a teacher on special assignment that works in our educational services department. This individual provides online curriculum and data support for our teachers, which would give us a cost savings of $150,000. So looking at the certificated savings, it's a projected just over $1.5 million. We looked at management as well. We added a position in our business office, I think it was 2 years ago. We feel that we could take some of that work and distribute it amongst existing staff members. We have a school psychologist, mental health intern coordinator at 50%. This position, 50% of the position, supervises 4 interns throughout the year to provide counseling services to our students at usually the secondary school, I think the middle school and the high school. We feel that we could take a look at this position and maybe reallocate some responsibilities. Occupational therapists, again, is IEP driven based upon need and caseload. And we have a district safety coordinator, which we talked about last meeting as well, that was held by one of our administrators last year. The responsibilities within that position has already been reallocated to our Director of Student Services and the Liberty High School principal and adult ed. So our adult education program currently resides with our CDU department, Child and Development Unit. We would move the adult ed responsibilities over to the alternative school and have our alternative school principal assume those duties, and that funding would fund 20% of that position. And that would give us a cost savings of about $325,000 for management. We had some proposed considerations for, so looking at all of these areas, it's about $2.5 million combined cost savings. And as I talked about the impact to people and the impact to staff, we did our best to minimize that. However, right now we're projecting probably about maybe 5 to 6 staff members that may potentially be impacted by the projected layoff. And I do want to reiterate that it's March 5th. By law, we're required to notice staff members by March 15th for any reduction. Between March 15th and May 15th, what we would do is we would look at our enrollment, because we're currently getting inter-district transfer agreements. Right now, 15% of our population come from outside of our boundaries. We're still getting those applications in. We're still monitoring our enrollment. And if our enrollment increases, or also things happen naturally, sometimes teachers move away, staff members move away through attrition, we may be able to bring some staff members back that we're unable to find a funding source for this evening. But by March 15th, we're required to provide notice. So between March 15th and May 15th, we're going to be doing our due diligence to see how we can rescind some of those. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wright. So now we come to those who wanted to speak to item number 12A. Amber Kelly, you are up first.
So my name is Amber Kelly, and I am here on behalf of the Public Library. We are, for those of you who don't know, the Public Library in Benicia is the library of record for the Unified School District. So there are three things. Two of them are happy. I just want people to know, and I'm saying this publicly so everybody knows, when every student who is enrolled in BUSD automatically gets something in this public library called a one card, which means all the students automatically have access to the Benicia Public Library through their student ID. I don't know if I can give handouts, but I have handouts. With that one card, we have many databases. The students get access to everything. One of the databases that I want to highlight is called Sorry, I feel weird not talking to those guys. Is called BrainFuse. BrainFuse is a database that is one-on-one help. It is not AI. It is not ChatGPT, and it's good for K through 12. So a 6th grader can type into BrainFuse through our public library, type into BrainFuse and say, I'm in 6th grade and I need help understanding how to make the area of a square. And then a real person will interact. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to have special equipment. A real person will help them. So here are some more handouts. The reason why this maybe will help some things is because BrainFuse also now helps one-on-one with FAFSA, FAFSA. So I believe that one of the requirements to graduate is you have to fill this out. And so they can make an appointment, they can have a one-on-one person, they can do it with their parents, they can do it without their parents, and these people will help you fill out this form. And so this information has all been sent to the high school. Thank you. Lastly, I am requesting that to restore the site's books budgets for the 2025 school year. I don't want to speak out of pocket here, but it is my understanding that all the school sites, except for Matthew Turner, have had their library book budgets removed between November and January. Traditionally, the library techs wait until the spring to order their books, allowing them to know what the hot reads are, seeing what needs to be replaced. They have time to do an inventory to make sure their collections are the best they can be. Our school sites will not say that Pluto is a planet, despite what other people think. Over the past 5 to 7 years, each elementary school library has been given about $3,000. BMS has been given $5,000, and BHS has been given $7,000. Dr. Beeson has been very clear about that. This is one-time money. There was no question about that. The only thing that has happened is this year it got pulled without them knowing. So they came back from the holiday and they did not have money that they had planned to spend. It is wonderful and correct that the tech jobs are not on that list anymore. I can send you hundreds of studies that show that strong public schools have libraries. Okay, I have other things to say. Thank you all very much.
Marisol Chafra.
Hi, good evening. My name is Marisol Charifa, and I have been serving the district as the occupational therapist since 2001. I previously sent a letter outlining my concerns in detail, and tonight I want to summarize my case and stress the importance of maintaining full-time OT in our district. When I first started in the district, there were 3 occupational therapists supporting students. Today, there's only 1, just me. Yet the number of students that need OT services has grown significantly. The district has added 4 RISE classrooms, 2 intensive academics classrooms, 2 Empower classrooms to support students with autism, ADHD, sensory integration disorder, anxiety, and other challenges. These students need OT now more than ever to develop the skills necessary to succeed in school and in life. Currently, I support 33 students in the RISE program alone, 16 in the Empower program, and my total caseload spans every school in the district. I not only work with students who have IEPs, but also support students who are not yet identified, consult with teachers, and conduct assessments for preschoolers, non-public school students, and also provide critical interventions for students to help them write, regulate emotions, focus, and participate in their education. I love being an OT because the positive changes I see every single day. You know, when the child finally holds a pencil correctly, when they can zip up their coat, or just sit through a lesson without feeling overwhelmed. These moments may seem small, but to that child and to their family, they mean everything. Every skill a child gains through OT brings them closer to independence, and with that independence come confidence, success, and a better quality of life, not just for the student, but for their entire family. OT services are not optional. They are legally required under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act to help students with disabilities access their education. Cutting OT services could put the district out of compliance, leading to legal challenges and costly compensatory services. Reducing OT services doesn't just impact students, it places an additional burden on teachers and special education staff who already have so many things to do. Without adequate OT support, students will struggle, teachers will be overwhelmed, and district risks both immediate educational setbacks and long-term financial consequences. I understand budget cuts are difficult, but cutting OT services is not the answer. The growing needs of our students require more support, not less. Reducing my hours will not only limit access to essential services, but could also lead to costly contracted services in the future, an expense that may far exceed the cost of maintaining 1 full-time OT.
Thank you.
He approves. Samantha Reese.
Okay, hi. Thank you. My son actually knows Olga from the school, so I can also advocate for that kind of thing. So my name's Samantha Reese. I'm a parent of 4, 2 seniors, a kindergartner, and a soon-to-be transitional kindergartner. We have been in the school district for over 10 years since we moved to Benicia in 2015, with enrollment of our children spanning 5 of your 7 Benicia schools. Until this time, I haven't felt a need to advocate directly for a specific stream of funding, as we've been very fortunate to have had the needs of our children met, in fact exceeded within the school system at Benicia. However, I was called to action, including creating a petition signed by over 340 Benicians over the past week, when I heard of the potential risk to cuts to special education and the associated programs and services. My family has experienced firsthand how valuable these services are when we first went through the IEP process for my then 4-year-old son a couple of years ago. We received prompt, comprehensive support from BUSD psychologists and evaluators in response to our evaluation request. We were really happy with the speed, dedication, the effort, dynamic pace, and timely completion of all the requirements to secure the IEP ahead of his start in kindergarten. We're so thankful for the help that we received, and testament to teachers like my previous speaker. He's been able to thrive in the past 4 months. And the dedication of the programs, the resources that he has is something I've never seen before. I'm advocating not only for my family, but also the growing needs of children and families in the community. We know that conditions who require access to these services, autism, ADHD, sensory integration disorder, anxiety, depression, trauma, all of these issues are growing in prevalence in our teenagers, middle schoolers, and obviously when people first access school, we want it to be a really warm, loving experience, which fortunately we've been able to get. I just want this to be able to continue. I really appreciate the fact that the whole budget process here has been very transparent. I also really appreciate the fact that there have been very clear explanations and priorities over the cuts. It does seem like there is a pathway to listening to the public and making sure the right priorities are allocated in the future. And I just want to make sure that special education and the associated programs are continue to be funded and address any deficits that we see continuously, so that we can all benefit as a community from the increasing need and make sure that other children and families have the same experiences that we did. So thank you.
Ann Cardwell?
Good evening, school board members. My name is Ann Cardwell, and I'm a parent of 3 sons, all of whom have attended Benicia schools, and one of which is currently at the high school. My oldest, Teddy, is autistic, and while he is now an adult, I still vividly recall the ups and downs of navigating special ed services, IEPs, etc. And while I definitely can appreciate how challenging it is to make cuts to our schools, like the prior speaker, I was dismayed to see special ed amongst the proposed reductions, and particularly as it relates to OT services. Especially for kids on the autism spectrum, OT is so critical to helping a student get through a day that is often overwhelming from a sensory perspective. When this type of therapy is not available, as Marisol was talking about, not only does the student suffer, but the teachers and the aides, the family at home. There's all these increased behaviors, and it definitely has a snowball effect. Additionally, the voice of OT is so important in the IEP setting, as it informs the services provided by the other members on the IEP team. Further, when I saw the estimated savings of cutting the service by the 20%, it appeared to me that the likely long-term cost of such a reduction would far exceed immediate savings. I urge the board members to closely reconsider this reduction in particular, as well as further scrutinize other proposed cuts to special education or services like the Wellness Center. You heard Olga bark a little bit earlier. She's a big fan of your wellness centers, and they do great work. So thank you very much.
Andrew Potter?
Good evening, board members. My name is Dr. Andrew Potter, and I have the privilege of serving as the clinical supervisor of our district's mental health intern program. This role is truly my dream job, and I have poured everything into building a program that provides essential mental health support to our students. Given the difficult decisions you must make, I wouldn't feel right staying silent about what this program means for our schools. The 4 interns provide 12 days a week of direct counseling services supporting 80 to 100 students at any given time. If this program is cut, it's not equivalent to cutting 1 position, it's more like cutting 4 positions. These interns don't just provide therapy, they conduct risk assessments, help prevent crises, and intervene in suicidal ideation cases that might otherwise go unnoticed. Without this program, there is no realistic way for existing mental health personnel to absorb these students, leaving many without any support at all in the way of mental health. This program is unique. It is the only Tier 2 mental health intervention available district-wide, including the elementary schools, 6 days a week. It plays a crucial role in preventing the escalation of student needs, alleviating pressure on psychologists, administrators, and teachers by reducing referrals for higher level services like special education assessments. Its absence would create a ripple effect, increasing demand on already strained staff. Beyond the direct impact on students, this program has positioned our district as a leader in mental health training. We've built strong partnerships with top universities in the Bay Area and increasing regional awareness of our district as a place where student mental health is taken seriously. These relationships took years to cultivate, and it would be difficult to rebuild the program if lost. I deeply respect the challenges you face in balancing these cuts, but I urge you to consider the long-term impact. The cost of this position is minimal compared to the number of students served and the critical role the program plays in both crisis prevention and the district's standing in the greater mental health community. Eliminating it would leave a void that no existing resource can fill. Thanks for your time and for considering this program's vital role in keeping our students safe. Thank you.
And Julia Hahn, you're up next.
Hello, Superintendent, Board. It's lovely to see everybody tonight. My name is Julia Hahn. I have 2 children. One is in the district, and one will be shortly. So the thing I would like to talk about tonight is, where is Benicia's education fund? Because quite frankly, Walnut Creek's education fund, their proposed fundraising for this year is $1.6 million. I realize we're not Walnut Creek, but we could get a fraction of that money, and that would help towards the budget. We wouldn't be having this conversation about OT, which is quite frankly very necessary. And I'm not saying we should, I'm saying, where is it? I'd like to volunteer. So let's get some money in the district in other ways. Let's think about outside the box, not just these tiny little things that you have. Let's go globally. Let's think about things. Now, as for OT, if you cut an OT position to part-time, the likelihood of that employee staying, come on, it's nil. Mental health, like, kids are not emotionally equipped to deal with adult things that they are dealing with right now. They need these services. We need to talk about, quite frankly, what administration positions can be cut, not just what direct student positions. So, like, taking a real look at these positions, and I understand that you have done your due diligence, but quite frankly, taking another look and really being careful about this, because what you were doing is, quite frankly, opening up yourself for lawsuits because you do not have the legally required services for IEPs if you do not have an OT. If you do not have an OT available, you are opening yourself up to lawsuit, which is, quite frankly, more than what, $40,000 that you're gonna save? So please be careful with these cuts, because they really do affect not just right now. It's not this year's budget. Thank you.
And Mark Love.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Mark Love. I'm a resident here of Benicia, and I can say that while I do not currently have children enrolled at Benicia Unified, that is one of the primary reasons we decided as a family to move up to Benicia. I've consistently heard about the great educational programs that Benicia Unified offers, including for special ed services. I work in city government, so I understand right now that cuts and cutting services is one of the hardest decisions that you have to make. With that said, I would ask you to closely scrutinize the proposed cuts to special education services, such as occupational therapy. They say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I feel that may apply here, where it seems likely that cuts to services to help our special ed students to learn and better function in our community will result in a need far more costly in the future. Thank you.
So now we come to our action items. 13A, consideration and approval of resolution number 24-25 to decrease particular kinds of services of certificated employees. Dr. Jennings.
Good evening, President Grubbs, Board Trustees, and Dr. Wright, and the Benicia Unified School District community. The item before you is a resolution for a reduction in the particular kinds of services of certificated employees.
So do the public comments for these items get 13A and B? Or after she speaks? After she speaks? Yes. So you'll go after she speaks, everybody.
Dr. Wright provided information regarding the totality of the budget reductions being recommended. This resolution lists the number of certificated positions that may result in layoffs. Included in the resolution are exhibits detailing seniority list, tie-breaking, and skipping criteria. We are recommending the adoption of this resolution.
Do I have a motion? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Discussion.
Barbara Gervasi.
Hello, my name is Barbara Gervasi, and I'm the president of the Kyle Highland Foundation for Teen Support. The KHF is a nonprofit that was established as a legacy for my son Kyle, who I lost to suicide in 2014. And for the past 9 years, the KHF has run a teen center here in town. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the children that will be impacted by the proposed cuts to mental health and special ed services. As a parent of 2 children that had learning disabilities that went through the district, I can personally speak to the importance of special ed services. Kyle had ADHD and suffered from both depression and anxiety. At the time of his death, the district had very few school psychologists and only 3 counselors at the high school. And while we can't know if Kyle's fate would have been changed by a school fully staffed with counselors and school psychologists, I do believe that Kyle's death could be a cautionary tale regarding the cuts proposed today. My other child has dyslexia, and thanks to early detection and intervention for her disability, she graduated out of special ed in 3rd grade and is now thriving in graduate school at UCLA. She is a success story for the district. At the last board meeting, the proposal included laying off 2 school counselors, and I'm very relieved to see that that reduction has been dropped from the plan. I am, however, concerned about the decrease in mental health services from the elimination of the mental health student intern program that will leave many students without the vital services they need. This will likely be exacerbated further by the removal of special ed supports. And at the State of the District meeting last month, Dr. Wright spoke of the deficit and potential cuts that would be required as a result. And he also appealed to the community organizations to partner with the district to help support our students. And the KHF is here tonight to offer to partner with the district to provide a mental health clinician to provide therapy during school hours, as well as staffing for wellness centers at the secondary level. We propose to use funding we are receiving from the state of California for these services, as we have done for the Vallejo City Unified School District for the past year. In Vallejo, we employ 2 peer mentors that support students in the wellness centers and 1 mental health clinician that provides free therapy at Vallejo and Jesse Bethel high schools. Over the past 3 years, the KHF has approached the district with an offer to partner multiple times, but we have unfortunately not been able to reach an agreement. We are hoping that given the very clear and urgent need, that the district will find a way to partner with us, as that is what our students truly deserve. And while I'm pleased to support students in Vallejo, I would truly love to be able to offer these same services for Benicia students. This is the first time that I brought this offer to the Benicia Unified School Board of Trustees, and I'm hereby requesting that the KHF be invited back for a formal presentation of her proposal at a future board meeting. Thank you for your time.
So, do we have any discussion from the board on 13A?
I had a question. So 13A, the mental health intern coordinator, my question is, if this reduction is made, does that mean that we don't have any more interns, or is the supervision potentially able to be spread out?
Yeah, we're just proposing the FTE, and then we would have to figure out how do we keep the program and how can we reallocate some of the responsibilities to make sure that we can continue it. It just may look a little different.
Regarding the OATS, what were you talking about, mental health intern and the, as a coordinator, is that something we have to be responsible for? Is that something we absolutely positively need? Are we a district that doesn't have to do that stuff?
Well, I will say it's not something that's mandated that we're required to do, but it's certainly a great program within our districts, and our students are benefiting from it. And it's something that we certainly do not want to lose. But faced with some of the tough decisions that we are facing, it's something that we feel that maybe we can reallocate and figure out how do we do it differently. The proposal on the table is about FTE. It's not necessarily about losing an entire program. It's about looking at the FTE and how do we reallocate some of those responsibilities and continue the great work that's taken place.
Any other comments, discussion?
Sure, I do. So I first want to say, thank you to all the individuals who have reached out by email, coming for public comment. It's really helpful, especially for me, my first time sitting on the board, so thank you. As I know, we're all here for the students, and we're all here to ensure that our students get the proper education. I can't help but think about our conversation about low enrollment and how our numbers are declining, and yet we're thinking about taking away personnel from our students, and how we're also thinking about increasing class sizes and all of these things that can happen with our budget cuts. So I think that this is just a holistic conversation. I think it's also really hard for me because there's a lot of things that are just sort of like, well, this might happen or this might not happen, and it's really hard to digest that. I think it's also, I feel like we're putting ourselves against a timeline where I know we need to talk about it, but making so many hard decisions today, I think, I am not ready for that yet. I feel like I need to hear what are we going to replace with, for instance, the mental health and the counselor and the interns. So we're thinking about removing a 0.5 FT from an FTE, but thinking about where it could be reallocated. I would like to know where that would be reallocated before I make a decision of, I want to remove this 0.5 from an FTE.
I just want to jump in and say that we have to notify staff by a certain date.
By March 15th.
March 15th, and they were going to send letters out tomorrow, I think. No, not tomorrow. That's what I read somewhere. Anyway, they're going to be sending letters out soon to those employees that may be impacted.
That's right, by March 15th. That's our deadline.
Okay.
Because I have asked, because I was even a little bit curious as to why we brought this up at the last meeting, because I felt it was too soon, but then it was like March 15th, we need to start talking about it. And I agree, I think this is good that we're having this conversation and we're transparently talking about it, because it is important. So I'm going to read a couple things that I wrote, just because I think it's important. While I realize this is unattainable because of laws, what I would really like to see is a freeze on job postings for the 25-26 school year that are from the general fund until we have a better sense of budget and understanding of what our employees are planning for the upcoming school year. These recommendations will be clear from our general fund, which our general fund is currently allocating almost 92% to personnel. To note, on average, 80 to 85% of general budget should be going to personnel. I think that's something that we need to just also note. I wonder, I talked about enrollment, you know, with the news of the schools in Vallejo, is there a possibility of that affecting our school district? And thinking about what that's gonna happen to our numbers. This can go for the next item, but I just want to just put that out there that I think that I would like to see what the proposal is to cover these positions and programs and what we're saying we're going to move around before I'm saying I want to cut personnel or I want to cut time from people.
Can I clarify? We're not actively recruiting for next school year. There's nothing posted that's recruiting staff for next year. I don't know that we officially said there's a hiring freeze, but we don't have any openings to post. So there's nothing posted for next year. Now, if you look, you will see athletic coaches, which we post after every season because we're required to. It's a stipend position. You'll see, I think there's a behaviorist position. We currently have a contractor there. That must be posted because we do not have district personnel. So we don't have anything posted actively recruiting for staff for next year. I just wanted to clarify that. And you know, in terms of having a polished rationale as to how we're going to address, there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, we're talking about these reductions impact people is based on seniority. People are going to get bumped, and if this person gets bumped, they could potentially move to this site or to this level. There's so many moving parts where it would be extremely difficult for us to come back prior to March 15th with a polished plan on how we're going to address some of these changes. This is something that would have to happen if board were to take action and we knew what we were working with. It would be a plan that we will be putting in place between now and the end of the school year as folks are getting their assignment for next school year. It takes, and it's not that we can't do it, it's just that I just don't want to send an expectation that we can come back with a polished plan and still get notification out by March 15th.
But then we would have an idea of how many inter-district transfers there are. If that's gone up, that's going to increase the amount of students that we...
Well, we'll have a better idea by May 15th, right? That gives us some more time. Now, the inter-district transfers are coming in, and we are monitoring those weekly. We don't quite have a handle on what our enrollment, we just have our best projection of today. And that can change significantly between now and May 15th, and really that's our hope, right? We hope that we get an influx in enrollment where we could resend some of these notifications and bring some of our staff members back.
I have a question on that point, and this is probably a technical question. So for any staff members that get a notice and say we do need to bring people back, do people we've given notice get like a priority or any kind of first dibs?
Dr. Jennings?
Yes, they do. There's as part of our collective bargaining agreements with both CSEA and BTA, there's a process for how people would be reemployed and offered jobs back.
And then kind of a follow-up, with all the timing, I mean, I know that this is people's livelihoods, so this is not anything to take lightly, and I definitely don't. I'm curious with the timing. We have to issue a notice by March 15th. I think we can assume that most people will, if they get a notice, they'll go try to look for another job. I would do that. If we do want to bring somebody back, about when would we be able to tell them?
As soon as we have confirmed enrollment numbers, I think in terms of the certificated staff, there are no classified staff in the proposal that would be coming back because the positions are currently vacant.
Right, right.
So,
I meant
but for certificated staff, and then we send them the final notice by May 14th. They have to receive the final notice that they are actually being, laid off.
Okay, so the March 15th is like a possibility, like you're on notice, you can go look for a new job, but we'll let you know for sure.
By May 14th.
Okay. And then when do districts hire people? Like if I'm a teacher and I'm gonna go look for a new job, could I get a job in a couple of weeks, or is there like a hiring season?
There's a hiring season. The hiring season goes pretty much from March until school starts. It just really depends, and just given the current climate in California with many, many districts doing layoffs, I imagine it might be a little bit of a hard, market right now. But we have to wait and see what it's going to look like.
And also in
The
addition,
other part on that too is that teachers, certificated personnel have till June 30th to let the district know if they're going to come back. So really, you don't know for sure. I mean, ideally, that's why you see all these districts do early retirement instead of, hey, if you let us know by January, we'll give you an extra $1,000. But you have legally till June 30th. After June 30th, and I've seen this numerous times in my years, let's say July 10th, you get that dream job you wanted as a teacher in a different district, your district could refuse to release you. So districts want to know as quickly as they can who's leaving and who's going, but realistically, you don't have a really good, you don't know for sure until June 30th, because after June 30th, you are not required to let anyone out of their contract.
that brings up a good point too, because in terms of rescinding, some of the notification can come through natural attrition as well. We don't get a lot of staff members that move on to other districts, but occasionally we'll get a few a year. So if that's the case this year, anyone who receives a notice on March 15th, we could potentially immediately bring back as people are making life decisions for their families.
I wish we had a crystal ball.
Yes.
That we would be able to tell. I wish staff would be able to share earlier to the district office if that were a plan, because that would help us quite a bit if we knew the numbers.
Well, we do send what's called an intent to return form to all our certificated staff, and we did that in January, and we've received all but one back, which is really remarkable. So we do have a pretty good idea. I mean, it's not a guarantee that no one's leaving, but we do know people who that we've had someone who was retiring, we have someone that's leaving the area. So we are aware of those, and we work to factor that in to the actual positions that are listed here.
Is there any other discussion?
I have a question. With the talk of changes in federal funding, and particularly with the potential of closing of the Department of Education, how does that affect BUSD?
So we receive very limited federal funding. We receive IDEA, which is special ed funding, which the closure of the Department of Education would not affect. And we receive some limited Title I. As of right now, it will not affect that. Not 100% guarantee, but all of those items come through the state. And then we do receive federal reimbursement for our child nutrition program. But we're not a district receiving massive amounts of federal dollars.
Thank you.
And the ones we do are publicly been said, they're still flowing through.
So could we talk through then, for me, if that's okay, this active physical education teacher, are these people that are these roles that have been vacant? I know we had talked about that.
Which particular position?
Yeah, because this is what's next, right, to what we're voting on?
The adaptive PE teacher, APE?
Right.
Say APE?
So
No,
this point-
that position is not currently vacant.
Okay.
That is correct, although we did receive some intent to return information that helps us to know that.
And what about like the physical education? I know you had said that there could be 5 to 6 staff that will be affected when you gave your presentation, and I'm curious to know who, are these the 5 to 6 staff? Are these vacant, you're following me?
The last slide, yeah.
Okay. So this is the last slide. So these are people who are currently in roles, what we're voting on right now.
These are folks who can currently be impacted by this reduction in force.
Okay.
Meaning that the other positions that I went through, they're bumping people and people are moving. And when we're done looking at that process, these are the folks who can potentially be impacted and could receive a layoff notice.
Be mindful that these are only in the certificated management and the teachers. This is where this one lies. There's also a different one. So just to clarify.
Okay, so that's a helpful clarification. So there are other reductions that, like the TOSA positions, for example. The people who are in the TOSA positions have seniority rights and
Correct.
then will be able to go back into the classroom.
Right.
And but the positions on this slide are the ones who, you've already gone through all of that analysis.
Right.
And this is the slide that shows us who's actually, which positions are actually impacted.
From certificated management.
Right.
I didn't put that position on that slide. I had to be honest, I had to do some revisions to it at the final hour, and I failed to put the management, but there's a management position on there as well. Management positions would be impacted.
Right, but that's on the next item, action item.
That's certificated. I mean, that's classified.
I'm jumping ahead, I'm sorry.
That's on the
Make sure
class,
we-
that's on the
make sure I'm on the
classified.
same page.
I think, I'm glad it's not just me. So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please.
So the positions that are unfilled, do those not need to go through us to say we don't need to fill those again?
Dr. Jennings, you could.
As Dr. Wright, you could answer that too, but
Tag, you're it.
they do not. Like if they're unfilled for certificated positions, we can simply just remove them from the budget, put an end date for them, and then they're no longer factored into the budget. For classified positions, we typically work with our labor partners, CSEA, and their leadership, and we kind of talk through the ones that are vacant and then come to an agreement, and then we're able to end those as well.
Got it. So then, essentially, what we're doing tonight, some of these things that you have proposed, like the positions that have been unfilled, those will just be removed. Okay.
Correct.
So what you need from us as the school board is to vote for the positions that people are in.
Correct. The PKS is the particular kinds of services. So if you look at that attachment, that's what, that's the proposal, that's the official proposal that you're voting on.
Okay. And so are one of these the STEM teacher? Okay.
That's the next action item.
The STEM teacher is, because it would be considered, she would be getting a reassignment, that position would be getting reassigned. Where that shows up is in the reduction in the multiple subject credential area. That's why you see those on there.
So that person will be reassigned, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And although we're talking about positions and not people, it goes by seniority. As long as that person has seniority, then they would be reassigned.
Okay, so on STEAM, since that's kind of part of this one. Well, we are because the position is one of the multiple subjects.
It's certificated. It would be this one.
Maybe I can help with
Certificated, so this is the one.
the item that the board is taking action on is what Dr. Wright references, the particular kinds of service. So that the board takes action on the item that results in a layoff of a position. The board doesn't have to take action on if there's a reassignment or something like that. It's the action on the layoff of a position. The FTE. That's what
So
the board is
it's the
taking
FTE.
action on.
So it's not just the 5.4 people.
It is.
It is. That is what's in the resolution is what the board is taking action on.
Maybe I can clarify, because I think we're talking about the STEAM, right? The FTE, with the remaining FTE, if we looked at our remaining FTE and we as a district said, you know what? I think we have the ability to offer this STEAM program with our remaining FTE, we can still do it. So what we're doing is we're reducing the amount of FTE in our district, and with the remaining FTE, we can offer whatever program we want to offer with that remaining program, essentially.
Yeah, because like STEAM, all of our kids love STEAM. And I have to wonder, you know, I know we put art in the Prop 28 fund. There's an A in STEAM that stands for art. Yes.
Okay, so anything that's in the general fund, what we call the unrestricted, you can't simply put it into Prop 28. There's all kinds of law around that. Now, if you have an item that's been in one-time funding, like the COVID funding, and that one-time funding ends, you can move that into a different funding source. But what we're calling the STEAM for this purpose is a unrestricted general fund program at this time. If it was gone for a year, that's a different conversation. But we can't just this year say next year we'll fund it different.
Okay.
Can't. It is not allowable under the audit. When they come in, they say, show us how you spent your money last year. And then they look at how you're spending it this year. And if they can tie it, that last year you did it this way and you simply moved it in here because it worked, it gets disallowed and you owe the money back.
But we've had band forever, right? And it's on the proposed plan for consideration one-time grants. Band is now being funded by Prop 28.
Not band, the specific.
It says band.
Well, it's band.
It's money to support the band program. So it pays for
Uniform
cleaning. It pays for some of the supplies and instrument repair and things like that for the band program. It doesn't pay for the whole program itself. And we've paid for that with one-time funding for many years. So it's not paying for the people that run the band program. It's paying for some instrument repair. They may use it to go on some band competition field trips. They may use it for uniform cleaning.
But it'll have to be a one-to-one thing. So what was done in one time can move to Prop 28. It can't be something that was currently done in the unrestricted budget now is in. It's the one-to-one for what was done in the prior year that is tested against the Prop 28. And since that was one-time funded, it can. If not available, then the band would have to find a different source to cover the instrument repair and the uniform cleaning.
What did they do in the past? What's past practice?
We've used some old one-time dollars that we had from Governor Brown years ago to do that, and I'm not sure how they did it prior to that.
Thank you.
Okay. The reason I bring up STEAM is because we've been talking a lot about an education foundation. Public comment tonight was prescient. It's on our minds. I think that is something that might be a great way to fund STEAM in the future. I know that at least 2 years ago or so, it was funded by a company in town, right? Oh, that's different? Oh, that was a STEAM wheel.
They're different. So STEAM came in last year as an extra prep.
Yes, I get that.
But the STEAM wheel has been going on. As a matter of fact, Dr. Beatson brought it to the elementaries.
Yes. Is that still going on?
That's different. That's paid with a grant from Valero.
Yeah.
And that is the 5-week rotation of the different classes for 3rd through 5th grade. They get a semester of that.
Yes.
So currently this year that is going on because we received the grant for that. The STEAM elective, if you will, it's not called an elective at the elementary school, but the STEAM program is one of the extra programs at the elementary school. And we've actually had that for a while as one of the prep.
Okay, so we've had 2 STEAMs going on.
Yes, one is the STEAM wheel and one was STEAM. And that one, incorporates science and technology and art and
Okay.
so
Okay.
they just have the
Thank
same
you.
names.
I was confused on that. Okay, but still, I think getting an education foundation up and running would be amazing, and we do need volunteers.
And we do have one.
And we had a volunteer. But that, you
I
know,
gave her
that's-
name to Damon.
Okay, good. And I think that, we used to have an ed foundation, and I think it maybe was a COVID casualty or slightly before.
Right before,
Yeah, so, and they used to do the Run for Education,
Yeah.
hugely
Mm-hmm.
popular. I think that we should, you know, put that on a future,
Bring it back.
future agenda. Madam President.
Future agenda.
So,
Okay.
wait, 1 second. So STEAM is located in the multiple subject credentialed teacher, and we're talking about removing 3 people from that section. Is STEAM just one of those?
Yes, it could be one of those, yes.
It could be.
There's,
Yeah,
the,
that's hard.
it can be a little confusing because you have sort of what the reductions, proposed reductions are and sort of the impact of those reductions. And we have some attrition that we are accounting for. So that's part of it. So that is why it's not as many. We also have reduced, looking at reduced projections for enrollment. So that also reduces the number of multiple subject credentialed teachers that we would need as well.
What is the projection for next year?
We currently have 80 elementary teachers, and we're looking at 76.
Elementary's TK through 5?
TK through 5.
I don't know if you have this right off the top of your head, but, and you weren't even here. You might know, pre-COVID, what was our you might know, what was our elementary? Yeah.
Veteran.
I'm curious, because I know our numbers fluctuate, and maybe we were a little higher during COVID. I don't know, or is 76, have we been there?
I do have the numbers. Pre-COVID, in the 1920 school year, we had 75 elementary teachers, and that's when we had a much more significant enrollment. And we have gone as high as 81. And that does not include our teachers on special assignment or any of the prep teachers. That is just classroom elementary teachers.
Remind me, what's the district safety coordinator?
District safety coordinator, we had a vice principal last year that assumed that role, helped put together the safety plans, best practices to keep our campuses safe, disaster drills, active shooter drills. That individual no longer works in a district, so those duties are now assumed through our Director of Student Services, John Novick, and that funding did not go with him. He's not getting extra funding to do those duties, so
Got it.
unfilled essentially.
Okay.
Are there any other comments?
With Yenny's request, as she sees that she's not ready to make this decision this evening, what are our options to come back to the table with these?
We would have to vote on it on the March 8th meeting,
It'd be March 6th.
March 6th. Because they're under a timeline, we are under a timeline of March 15th. And how does that affect what the district needs to do?
It shortens the timeline significantly in which we can notify individuals and hand deliver the notices.
But is it doable?
I think anything is, we would have to make anything doable. And again, I'd ask the question, what additional information would you want staff to acquire in order for you to feel comfortable or ready to make this decision?
Well, I I would like, so I will say, if there's an opportunity to like amend, like I could make an emotion to amend something, I would be comfortable with having that conversation and doing that. I think the mental health intern coordinator, I think that, I believe that that is vital. I mean, I think that we are serving, you know, that gives us 12 days a week of serving students. And I think that with the wellness centers, with so many mental health services to our students, I think that we do a detriment. I also think, thinking about these college students that we're helping prepare, this real life experience that we're giving college students is important too. Perhaps that's something to think about and work with the psychologists in terms of like, can you rearrange something among the group? But for me, that's the district safety coordinator. Nobody's there, fine. You know, if there's people that are not in these roles, in the teaching roles, I would vote to make that pass. But when I'm thinking about people who are in these roles, I'm having, not people, I should reframe that, but when I'm thinking about these roles like STEAM and putting the subjects to the teachers, that's where I still feel like we are going to be doing a disservice to our students.
Would you like to make an amended motion?
Well, okay, let me just try this. Let me try it out and see what it, if I make an amended motion to provide more information on this reduction. For instance, what are the multiple subjects and what is vacant? I want more details on here.
No, to make an amendment, you're just making an amendment on that document so the
Okay.
board can take action tonight. That's why you would make the
Got
amendment.
it.
Or what's the other alternative? To pull it?
Or you vote on it,
Either one.
and then, you know, I give my vote. I don't know how the other four of you feel, so.
Well, I mean, I think none of us are okay with any of it.
No,
so
yeah.
That's why I think we're all kind of like, oh, gosh. With the mental health intern coordinator, I understand the importance of that. I don't want to lose the internship program. I think that's a valuable program, both for our students and for our students who might even want to go to college and become part of those programs, and
Yeah.
the students within those programs. But I do think that paying an extra amount for somebody to manage the interns, I feel like it's fair to see if we can reallocate that. So I'm, you know, with this, I am inclined to, I think, you know, we've had discussions on this. The district has provided us with a lot of information about our enrollment and how many students should be in a class and the impact on our budget when we don't run, you know, when we don't run full classes. So, I mean, I wish we didn't have to do this at all. Believe
I
me.
know we all do.
But I do think, I feel comfortable at this point with the amount of information that I've been provided, that I feel that I can vote tonight. You know, the public doesn't know, but we ask tons of questions, and we ask them out here too. But we've been, you know, this has been an ongoing discussion for a long time.
Realistically, nothing's going to change. I mean, we've gotten all the information we could possibly get, and I mean, none of these are easy. I'm listening to the Kyle Highland Foundation wanting to partner with us. That could help out in this situation too. But yeah, I think that we'd be doing everybody a disservice if we put this off, because I realistically don't see anything changing. Nothing. If we come back in 2 weeks, there's not going to be anything different about information-wise. We're not going to know enrollment. We're not going to know anything new, and you know.
Never know the multiple subjects.
Everything changes in August.
So, yeah, I move that we approve this, let me get the right number. that we approve Resolution 24-25-25.
And I'll second.
Okay, this is a resolution, so it'll be a roll call vote. President Grubbs?
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch?
Yes.
Trustee Seda?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
And Trustee Mendoza?
No.
Now we'll come to 13B, and we have a couple of speakers. Consideration and approval of resolution number 2420-25-26 to decrease the number of classified employees due to a lack of work and/or a lack of funds. Cindy Crane?
Good evening. I am Cindy Crane, the president of Local 1096. I just wanted to acknowledge that you heard our voices and began the hard work and out-of-the-box thinking to eliminate vacant positions instead of filled positions. We want to say thank you to that. I also want to thank Pat Jennings for the level of value and respect given to CSCA through timely communications and regular meetings. Your willingness to partner is appreciated. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Julia Hahn?
So I just have a couple comments. You heard my stance on the OT. It's a bad idea. Please don't do it. The other thing to note is for paraeducators, quite frankly, the reason why you have so many unfulfilled is because it is a not good paying job for a very difficult job. And so the fact that you don't have those positions filled doesn't actually mean that those positions don't need to be filled, because quite frankly, there is a short of paraeducators in every single district. Every single district is short paraeducators. It is a problem all over the place, and just because it's not filled doesn't mean it's not important. I understand the priority is always going to be employees, and I fully respect that, but please don't shortchange the paraeducators in this whole entire conversation. Secondly, I do actually agree that you guys need a better plan. I understand that things are moving, but do you want to keep a program? How are you going to be able to keep it? You guys have been talking about this stuff for months. So having a plan of who's gonna take on these responsibilities? Are you gonna keep these responsibilities? Is it something that you can keep? Should be something that you do know at this point. So I would like to also see that plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion on 13B? I do.
Go ahead. Go for it.
So, I feel that that our occupational therapists, I think that the job is much bigger than is presented. It is a huge job. We have one person, we have 4,300 kids, students in our schools. We have the RISE program, we have the Empower program, and I would like to amend, I'd like to make a motion with the amendment that the occupational therapist stays at a full-time employee. I think that it's needed, our students need it. So.
I would agree with you. I think that an amendment passing resolution 24-25-26, taking out the occupational therapist, I could be comfortable with that.
I think we need to clarify if that's a first and a second and take action on that before any more discussion.
Yeah, I would second, if that's what President Grubbs was saying, I would second that, yes.
So I did
Are you
make a motion to amend.
But are you making a motion to approve with that amendment? Approve
Yeah.
the rest of it, or no?
Well, I'm looking for discussion, but that's my feeling.
But I just want to just be clear, there was a first and a second, and I think we have to take action on that first and a second before we move forward.
Which is
Whether-
to make the amendment.
Or either make the amendment or to continue discussion, but we have to settle that second.
What do you mean, settle the second?
Remember on the last meeting when we had a first and a second and we didn't act on it? So if you
Oh,
made a
yes,
motion,
yes,
you
yes.
have to-
So, okay, so I'd like to rescind my motion for the moment and open it up for discussion. Does anyone have any comments?
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I agree. I think the occupational therapists should be saved out of this list. I want all of them because I know these jobs are important to them, to our students, to our teachers, and to their families that take this job. It's income for them as well. I hate the fact that we are touching people's lives that have a secondary, they have families or their own self to support in this day of rising costs for everything. So, but I will say that the occupational therapist, I really want that to stay, to keep going.
Well, and for me, listening to the discussions, it's one thing to say there's a caseload of 11, but to hear that, and doing adaptive P myself, I work with a lot more kids than are on my caseload, and the fact that she works with so many kids and being the only person, I think the savings is minimal. I think that we'd be better served by keeping her in that position full-time.
I also think with the rise in the number of kids who do need services, we can expect, or we should plan that we will need
Potential.
that .2 next year. Yeah.
Okay,
Can I discuss a little, can I ask some questions? Of course. So to go through these, the special education assistant, purpose aid, and education assistant 2, are these vacant?
Those positions,
Or unfilled, I should say. That's the verbiage we used on the presentation.
Yeah, those positions are currently unfilled and vacant, and some of them have been vacant, as Dr. Wright mentioned earlier, since 2022.
Right, okay.
And just to add, like, these are positions that maybe the student aged out, there was a change in programming and an aide that had been assigned to a program, the program's no longer there, things like that. So it's not that they are positions that we had actively been seeking people for and not found anyone. So we are continuing to fill our vacancies that are needed based on our caseload.
So just to confirm then, as we get enrollment numbers, as we get and understand what's happening in the coming months, positions could open up? Or do these totally drop from?
paraeducators is IEP driven, so it depends if there's a need. And if there's a need, regardless of enrollment, we're going to be required to bring them back. But those positions, as Dr. Jennings stated, we weren't actively looking to fill those positions. They've been vacant for some time. They just weren't removed from the books.
Great. Okay. Well, I agree with you on the occupational therapist too, so I'm good.
So I'd like to make a motion to take the occupational therapist out of the PKS, thank you, out of the PKS, keep that person as a full-time employee, and that's my amendment, and is there a second?
Just not to
second.
reduce the .2.
Not to reduce the .2, thank you.
But we're approving the rest of the resolution.
Yes.
I will second that, the amendment.
We're ready for the vote?
Yes.
Want to make sure. President Grubbs.
Yes.
Trustee Hirsch.
Yes.
Trustee Seda.
Yes.
Trustee Maselli.
Yes.
And Trustee Manas.
Yes.
Thank you. We come to 13C, consideration and approval of the Office of Administrative Hearings contract. Dr. Jennings.
Good evening again, President Grubbs, Board Trustees, and Dr. Wright. The item before you is a contract for, if needed, with the Office of Administrative Hearings. If we indeed end up moving forward with all of the layoffs that you have approved, we would need to contract with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the hearings that are required to be done in the case of a certificated or classified layoff.
Are there any comments, discussion on this?
I just want to clarify that this annual fee, is this an annual fee?
No, it's a one-time fee if we are needing to, if we end up using that much time for the Office of Administrative Hearings.
So it's like up to?
Up to.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other discussion? No. You know, I think that, I understand it's a 43 or whatever contract, and it's up to, so every little thing you do has a charge up to 47 or 43, whatever it was, $48,000. In this time, in our past, what's our past practice?
In terms with this contract?
Yes.
I don't think we had to use it in quite some time, but by law, we're required to provide this service for any employee who may be impacted by a layoff. They have the right to classified, I'm sorry, just classified. They have the
So it's classified, so it wouldn't have.
No, it's for certificated and classified. They have, because they have equal, they have parity in terms of their layoff rights, and so that is the agency that you contract with to do the hearings, and so you're required to do that. And sometimes what will happen is if you work, when you work with your labor partners, they'll waive the right to a hearing, and you can work on a solution without doing this, but we do need to have the contract in place so that we can even schedule a date for any potential hearings that we might have. Does that help to answer your question?
Yes, I just don't know what we've done in the past.
And are there other companies that serve this purpose? Have we gone out for, like, looking to see if there's another company that does this?
This is a government entity.
It's
not a
just
company.
it, sorry,
Yeah, it's a government entity.
There's not another agency
Okay.
that does these type of hearings.
So to answer the question, what we've done in the past was this, because we had to have it in place if there was a layoff of some sort.
Okay, all right.
I move that we approve the contract with the Office of Administrative Hearings.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And our next regular board meeting is Thursday, March 6th, 2025. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
for staying.
And another congratulations to Liberty.
Yes, yes.
Yay, Miss Lewis.